lost the keys to my bike, buddy. What is Buddy Dog thinking?
The cartoons ask so harmlessly, what is Buddy Dog thinking?
Did you look into her pockets yet?
So I decided to find an answer to precisely that question and started to dig a bit deeper behind the nonchalant facade of the cutesy animation strips circulating online. I embarked on a quest to sneak a peek between the curtain of mystery shrouding this operation in pursuit of finding out what is Buddy Dog actually thinking and what Buddy and his gang are really up to. Something just didn't feel quite right, as I noticed. Upon making contact with Buddy's organization, my requests for comments were quickly turned down and a wall of silence went up. Buddy's manager Fluffy was very welcoming at first, when he seemed to think that I was interested in taking part in their cause. But as soon as I introduced myself to be a journalist, things got a bit strange, and I was only getting answered with riddles and responses to my questions. Somehow I managed to find a faint trail of leads, which I then began to piece together. It all started from an old script which was unearthed from a stack of bankrupt Hollywood studio hard drives bought from a North Korean black market hacker group. From these files emerged a very different Buddy Dog, not the Zen guru which he's proclaimed to be. Instead, I found myself looking at a whole season's worth of ferocious, nihilistic, politically incorrect Buddy, swearing and making a mockery out of almost anything imaginable. Unfortunately, due to legal reasons, we are not able to air any of those clips. But through these videos, I was able to trace Buddy Dog's steps from a failed aspiring Hollywood star through some shady back alleys of Tokyo and back into Los Angeles, California. And that is where I am today, interviewing an artist who goes by the name of Daniel Palillo, residing in trendy Silver Lake. I discovered Daniel through some social media posts that a source had shared with me, which have since been taken down. The posts were on from a private, later closed Instagram account which seemed to belong to Buddy Dog. It depicted some of his escapades, mostly in Japan, before anyone knew anything about Buddy. This Buddy Dog seemed to be thinking very differently, and instead of answering questions from what I had seen, this left me even more puzzled. When I approached Daniel about Buddy, whom he seemed very close to based on the photos found on social media, Daniel seemed almost as if he wouldn't even know what I was talking about.
When is the last time you heard from him?
As if he'd never even heard of the dog.
I don't know, many years ago. A couple of years ago maybe.
After I showed Daniel some of the photos, he started to talk, but very little. Daniel was the first person who seemed to have at least had any relationship with Buddy who agreed to be interviewed on camera.
I always remember having a good time in
Did he ever make you
Japan.
take any drugs?
I wouldn't know. No.
We spoke a bit about their times together in Tokyo, about the Shibuya jazz bar called the Dog Bowl, and a Shinjuku drinking hole known as the Bear Bowl Shinjuku, as well as Nakameguro Breakfast Club, where Buddy had seemed to have a job at some stage.
Did Buddy ever exhibit any violent or vulgar nature?
At least not with me, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Now, what was even more strange was that when I started to ask about Buddy Dog's blockchain adventures, if Daniel had had any part in creating the designs for Buddy's line of rumored NFTs, as one source had hinted at. When inquired about those, Daniel seemed to get very anxious.
I'm surprised. I don't know what to think about it.
And that is where our interview abruptly ended. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. So much for Zen. I was left under the impression that Daniel had merely designed some of the apparel, which were then taken down by Buddy's manager Fluffy without Daniel's consent, and this left me even more puzzled. Based on the photos, Daniel and Buddy seemed so close, friends even, having had a good time going through life together. I really wonder what happened. It seemed like everyone I asked either wouldn't speak on camera or declined to give any comment about Buddy. I only found businesses that had long gone bankrupt, restaurants closed, and many, many bridges that were burned to ashes. When I approached the Zen temple on Mount Koya in Japan, where Buddy was rumored to have had spent years in retreat studying Zen, a monk named Joshu only replied to me with a Zen koan. Does a dog have Buddha nature? Which of course, I couldn't answer. After this exchange, the monastery also went silent. So after all this, I'm finding myself even more perplexed. And instead of asking what is Buddy Dog thinking, it seems that one might be better off asking, what are Buddy Dog and his shady partners actually up to? Stay tuned for more.